yeah, we've been talking about managing the home, and we've covered meal times, meals, children, their attitudes, training. Last week we talked about character training through chores, and this final week we're going to talk about managing children's rooms. So I don't know if you guys have noticed these days this week have been so gorgeous. Just the fall, it's like the height of fall. It's so beautiful. I just want to be outside and just enjoying the weather. And yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, drive down the streets and think like, man, if it could just only be like this like every day. Like, why couldn't every day be so perfect fall day with blue skies and orange trees? But the reality is it's usually only 2 weeks, you know, and in 2 weeks we're going to have the gray November days, and all the leaves will be, you know, on the ground, and we won't have this height of beauty, you know. But it got me thinking that, you know, oftentimes we want more and more and more of a good thing, and eventually with more and more of a good thing we just lose the appreciation for what it is. Like if every day was a perfect fall day, then we wouldn't even notice it. It'd be like, oh yeah, it's just like that here, you know, like in LA, you know, it's just sunny here every day. You know, you lose the appreciation for what you have so much of. And so we're going to talk about how less is more and the power of less today, because I really believe that adding to our life often doesn't add to our life. It takes away from our life. And getting rid of things that we have actually is not a subtraction. It's not a subtraction problem. It's actually an addition problem, because we add to our life peace. And so we're going to talk about how with children's rooms, less is more, and how do we get there. So we're going to talk about why, and we're going to talk about how, and hopefully I'll inspire you guys to just run home and tackle those children's rooms, or kids that are here that are parents in training. I hope you will be inspired to know how to manage your own space, and then eventually the spaces that you will be in charge of. So to begin children on this journey of responsibility that we talked about last week, we talked about building character into our kids. We can make it hard for them, or we can make it easy for them. I really believe that simplifying their rooms and making their rooms like very simple with not a lot of things will make it easier for them to be a success in learning and responsibility. You know, this is a practical key. Come on in, come on in. So our first step is going to be reduce the number of toys. How many toys does your child have? Or how many toys do you think the average kid has? I read a study that said 100. That including bath toys, outside toys, inside toys. So the first step in the power of less is reducing the number of toys in the kids' room. Our homes are overloaded. They are overloaded with toys. Think about how many toys are in your house. The average household in general, okay, if you're managing a house right now, the average American household has 300,000 items in it. 300,000. This is so this is so validating to me, because I get overwhelmed with my house and how much stuff I am moving and organizing. And you as a mom, if you have like a average size household, you are managing 300,000 items in your house. So that is overwhelming. That's overwhelming for us as moms, but our kids are also overwhelmed by stuff, the amount of stuff. By reducing the stuff, I'm just going to fast forward to this slide. Our kids are overwhelmed by stuff. And by reducing this, we're going to reduce their stress and their sense of overwhelm. This kid right here, he has like a lot of cute IKEA stuff in his room. He has the IKEA chair, the little baskets, the bed, right? And there's also kind of like this bumblebee theme going on here. Do you notice the theme? He's got this little bumblebee, bumblebee, bumblebee. You wouldn't really notice it in this room, this cute theme, because there is so much stuff in here. It is like toy overload. This poor child, and this oftentimes is what our houses look like. And then we're like, kids, go clean your room. And I was asking my kids how long they thought it would take to clean this room. Abby, you wanna share what you thought?
Well, if you're 6, that would take you a day. If you're 8, that would take you a few hours, and if you were 10, that would take you maybe around 3 hours.
So we're talking about reducing stuff, and by reducing stuff, we're going to actually reduce the amount of work it will take our children to clean their rooms, and we're going to reduce the stress that they feel managing this, and we feel managing this. So we're going to save time, because we're going to not be like, hey honey, can you go find your blue dinosaur? Okay, he's looking for his blue dinosaur in there. You know, how much time is it going to take him? How easy would it be to lose something in this room? It's going to be so easy to. So if we just reduce the amount of stuff, let's go back to this picture here. Suggesting a simplified room. If you tell this child, go find your teddy bear, how long would it take him to find the teddy bear? Or you say, go find your nursery rhyme book. How long would it take for the child to find it? Quick, right? Easy. It's right there. It's visible. They can see it. So we're going to reduce the amount of time spent looking for things by focusing on less is more. And Kim John Payne wrote this book, Simplicity Parenting. This is not specifically a Christian book, but very insightful. I have to say, my mother, who's worked with children for 40 years and had 6 of her own children, said this is one of the best books she's read about just managing the home. You know, there's some very good insights and practical things that you can do about managing the home. So I'm pulling a lot of today from this book for you. But one thing Kim John Payne said is, a mix of toys should be part of a child's world of play, just not the overwhelming center. Think about a child and how they play. What type of plays do they like to do?
Well, I especially know that Ziza really likes to play with people, no matter what they are, she can just get some pieces of rice, and they're her people, and they're talking and their family and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your favorite game as a small child? What was your favorite game to play? Barbies. And come on, the other one. Every time you came to my house, you played this game.
Oh, Polly Pocket?
No.
I don't know.
Hide and seek, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hide and seek every single time. This girl has tore up some of my closets. I'll just let you know. But this was one of Yaya's favorite games. Does hide and seek involve any toys?
No.
But it's one of the funnest games for kids, right? You guys think so?
Yeah.
It's one of the funnest games. And so play oftentimes doesn't need to involve stuff. There's other kinds of play, imaginative play, where kids make up a game like, my daughter Beth Ann's good at this, let's pretend that this string is a such and such, and we're all Indians, and we're going to blah, 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 blah. Making up a play, or making up a game, is often a part of kids' play. Imaginative games, dramatic games, hide-and-seek type games. So when we think of kids and how much stuff they need, I think it's important to think about what types of play do kids do, what do they really enjoy, and what things do they need to help and to make those things enjoyable. We're going to talk about it more, but the point is Kim John Payne saying the toys should not be like the centerpiece of their play. It's not like this is the play, is the toys. But it may be part of their play, but it's not the overwhelming center. So how many toys does your child have, and how many do they need? I want you to think about that. less toys, less choices. This is big too in terms of simplifying, creating a more peaceful home environment is reducing choices for kids. Less tidying, less clutter, less things going missing. That's less is more. We're going to have more calm, more play space. And this is a big one. Whenever we rearrange the house or a room and an open space emerges, my kids go wild. It's like cartwheels, jumping jacks, running around in a circle. It's like the play space emerges and they go wild. They love space. So when you think about reducing clutter in your home, when you create space, you're creating something they will enjoy, they will love. So we're going to create more play space and more easy access to the things that they really love. And more playtime. I would suggest to you that this type of thing that we're doing in our culture, and this is, like Chad was saying earlier, these are people of goodwill. Like, the people that bought these toys were loving grandparents, you know, loving friends at birthday parties, you know, people that wanted to enrich this boy's life academically. You know, these are the people that gave these things wanted to be loving, but the end result is not loving towards this child, I would suggest to you. And this is sort of the spiritual connection I want to make, that Titus 2 says that we need to learn to love our children well. I would suggest this is not loving. More stuff is not necessarily more loving, because the end result is the stress and overwhelm. The kids they feel like a failure because they can't handle the responsibility of all this stuff. So the end result is toy overload. As Christians, we know that we don't need stuff to be happy. We find in Scripture that what we really need is love. God's love and the love of people around us. These are the greatest commandments, and this is what we really need as people. And God's chosen to enrich our lives with this beautifully diverse world, nature. All of the things in nature we can explore and discover, and I believe God did that because He wants us to enjoy His world. He gave us work, purposeful work, to enrich our lives. When we do work, it enriches us. When we're involved in doing work, it is enriching to us. It gives us a sense of purpose. But today, parents are flooded with a tsunami of marketing messages. And believe me, if you have not noticed already, they are coming. It's October. The Target ads, I mean, I've already received, because I've contributed to different compassion type organizations, I've already received 3 catalogs. It's like the gift-giving catalogs have arrived. I mean, the messages are going to be coming at you fast and furious to buy more. You don't have enough. Your kids need this. Make sure you get them this for Christmas. Get them the next newest this. And these messages, I believe, are the end result is this. Okay, the end result of all this marketing is we as parents go along with the wave of culture. This is what we end up with. And we're getting off the track of what really, I believe, we need to take a step back and say, okay, what does Scripture say? And look at, Scripture says we don't need stuff to be happy. So when we get that Target ad and we see the newest whatever, you know, we need to think about, is that what our children really need to feel? Like, is that loving to buy that thing for them? You know, what's the end result going to be for them? They're going to tell us we need more stuff. But our houses are stuffed. Our garages that are supposed to be 2-car only fit 1 car. They're saying that people are buying so many storage spaces now that there is enough storage spaces for every person to have a storage space roof over their head. There was a study in England that said parents spend like $300 on toys per year for kids, and they only end up playing with their 12 favorite toys every day. So there's like 12 favorite toys, and that's what they play with. And yet we're spending gobs of money on children's toys. But I think we can escape the financial drain of this. I think we can escape the weight of managing this. And we can find joy by refocusing on what the Word of God and our Maker says we need in life. So I want to talk to you about how to purge your child's room and make a space that he loves, that fosters a sense of responsibility, creativity, and ultimately peace. I believe that we need to consider Titus 2 that says how to love our children well, and take a hard look at what we're providing in their space, in their living space. So we need to help this poor boy drowning in toys. There's also something else that happens. There's like an emotional disconnect from your toys when you have too much. So this is what's going to happen. Abby said one thing. She's like, if I saw this, I just want to organize that. How many of you feel like you just want to organize that? Some of you are feeling that. Okay. Some of you are just, other kids will feel like they'll just damage it. They'll have like Barbie with the head off and like it's been thrown around and there's like damage. Other kids are just going to break this stuff because they don't care about it. It's just too much. You know, I won't ask you how many of you want to destroy this stuff. Some of you will have that inclination. Like, you just don't care about any of it. You know, you just don't care about any of it. So, this will not encourage play, actually. So, we were thinking about our children's emotional disconnect and sense of overwhelm from having too much, particularly my kid's closet. And so, can you give me some tissue, babe?
Tom and Z.
So we did a stealth room excavation. And this is not obviously one of our kids or our kids' rooms, but we had a closet that looked similar to this. And so we needed to purge their closet really bad. But I told my husband, I cannot do this on my own. Like, he knows, I tried, I cannot do it. He's like, he kept telling me, you've got to throw stuff away just when they're not looking. Throw stuff away. I'm like, but I can't do it. You know, I'm home all the time. You know, I homeschool, and I'm just like, I can't do it. So he's like, okay. So we did the stealth move together. We got our flashlights. They were sleeping in their beds. And we went up to their rooms with our flashlights and checked their faces. Okay, they're sound asleep. And he helped me, got a garbage bag, and we just crept into the closet. And he was shining, you know, the flashlight on all the toys and looking, and he started chucking toys into this garbage bag as fast as he could, and there were empty Lego boxes and 1,000-piece puzzles they'll never do, broken crafts, matted My Little Ponies, and they went to the back. Then he pulls out this kite, and I'm like, that is a perfectly good kite. It has not even been opened, you know. And he says, no, let's just get rid of it. I'm like, but Beth-Ann had a kite and she like mended it. It was a broken kite and she fixed it. How can we give away a perfectly good kite? So he's like, no, in the trash bag. And so I'm like guiltily putting it, this is why I need his help. I'm like guiltily putting it into the trash bag. He's like, if we need another one, we'll just go to the Dollar Tree and we'll just buy one if we're going kite flying. You know, it's fine. So I'm like, okay. So then in went 3 broken swords, leftover party giveaways, an old plastic racetrack, and he's like, what is this? He keeps asking me, what is this? I'm like, I love wooden puzzles. They're so cute, you know? And I'm like, I'll just find a home for this one, you know? And he's like, what is this? I'm like, oh, that's the Lego set that his cousin saved his allowance to buy for him. And he says to me, does he play with it? And I'm like, he likes to like look at it on his shelf. And so then he's like, in the trash, throw it out. And so then he says, he keeps asking me, you know, how about this, throw it out. And then he gets like a bag. I started laughing at this part because he pulls out this bag. He's like, what is this? I look inside and it's like it was a painted airplane. It was broken in a paper bag. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I was just started laughing so hard. I'm like, it's like a project. You know? And then I started laughing. And then we woke up Tom. Oh, it was hilarious. But that was really helpful, and we were able to get rid of things. But I needed that emotional support of like, you can throw away a perfectly good toy, or you don't have to keep this. So.
Or donate them, not throw them away.
Or donate them, yes. You can donate them to the thrift. The wooden puzzles are definitely going to be thrifted because, yeah, but I had some of these ideas in the back of my mind, which did help me, and I think it would help you as you think about actually taking this first step of just getting rid of toys. That's my main point. I'm saying get rid of toys in your kids' room. It starts when they're babies. The toys start coming, and they don't stop. They don't stop. So, what are we going to put? Well, let me just say this. Kim John Payne recommends having your kids' toys, having them again, and then that last half, cut it in half again, and then some of those toys are going to be left out in the room, and some are going to be put away and rotated into your kids' room. Okay? So that's the big picture here. But the first thing we're going to throw away is broken toys. Okay, broken toys. They are going to get in the way of fun. Okay, it might be like, oh, well, so-and-so can fix this, or we could fix that. The first thing that's going in the discard pile are broken toys. And then developmentally inappropriate toys. Sometimes, this has happened to us where grandma or grandpa gets a toy that's just your kid's not ready for. It's like for 2 or 3 years down the road. So you want to get rid of those. Also, my mom was saying in her church, in the nursery, they had some developmentally inappropriate toys. And you could tell because they had like a toy where the babies it was like little sticks, and they put blocks on the sticks like to build. 1 and 2 and 3. Babies they can only put one block on top of another block. They don't build. She's like, yeah, the babies would just take these little blocks and walk around the room with them. You know the toy's inappropriate if they're using it in a way that's totally, different than its purpose, So developmentally inappropriate toys, let's get rid of. Conceptually fixed toys. And I think this is a great idea and a great grid going into Christmas. In terms of what you want to tell grandma or grandpa that you want, or the kind of toys to keep. So a conceptually fixed toy is a toy you can only do one thing with. It's designed to do one thing. You can only manipulate it one way. You can only play with it one way. So I had the wooden dress-up dolls were like these pieces. There were like 3 outfits, and they could switch the outfits around. There was 3 outfits and 1 doll, and they could dress it with these 3 outfits. But that's an example. It only does really one thing, as opposed to a set of blocks, like a set of wooden blocks. Think about how many different things you could do with a set of wooden blocks. You could build a castle. You could build a fort. You can make a racetrack. You can build one tower straight up. A baby can put one on top of the other. Blocks have a lot of different ways that you can use them. They're open-ended toys. And so what happens is then the child brings their creativity to the toy. Kids are naturally creative. They don't need a toy to make them be creative. And this is what the marketers will tell you. Buy this toy to stimulate creativity. And it's got all these things that they can do to stimulate creativity, but they already are creative. They need a toy that's open-ended, where there's lots of options of what we can do with this toy. So like a simple doll actually has more options of what they can do with it than a doll that is like has one look to it, or is like for one, I'm just thinking of like the Bratz doll. It has one kind of look, one thing you could do with it. But a simple cloth doll has a lot of options. So we want to get toys that are not conceptually fixed, that don't have just one way to play with it. We can do a lot of different things with this toy. Children that are really creative will do that with any toy. When I look at Yaya, I think of that. She will always find some creative way to play with something. but we want to look for toys that have options. High stimulation toys we want to get rid of. We want to get rid of the ones that are simulating a video arcade experience with flashing lights, mechanical voices, speed, sound effects, and it's just a toy that is sensory overload. So we can have overload with too much, but we can also have overload with just noise and sound and lights and all these things. So we can get rid of those. Annoying or offensive toys. If your kid has toys that are ugly, they make an awful noise, they're just offensive to look at, they're like cheap plastic crap, those are ones you can get rid of. You don't have to keep those just because someone gave it to you. Because remember the big picture of it. This is what it's going to end up to be. So we need to make some choices. What are we going to get rid of? What do we want? What's the overall feel and atmosphere of this space? And if it's a cheap, ugly toy, it's not going to create a peaceful atmosphere. So, toys that claim to give your child a developmental edge. One creative director said, creativity is fostered by what kids naturally do anyways. Asking questions, exploring, inventing, daydreaming, improvising, make-believe, making music, and even making mistakes. So you'll have toys that we'll see in the ads coming out that will claim, if your child has this toy, they're going to be smarter, it's going to give them a developmental edge. What they really need is unstructured playtime to give them a developmental edge. They need some free space and some free time where we're not juggling them from class to class, where they can just play in the sandbox. They can play in nature. They can play in their room with some simple toys. That's what will give them a developmental edge. The toy itself is not going to give them the developmental edge. They just need room to explore, to invent, to daydream. We also want to get rid of toys that you're pressured to buy, the fad toys. Growing up, 1984, who knows what the fad toy was? 1984. Come on, girls, Cabbage Patch. My mom got me the imitation because we had 6 kids, but we had to get in on that Cabbage Patch thing, Or Elmo, when Elmo came out, when Abby was, oh my goodness, the Elmo craze. It was insane. You had to have Elmo, the talking Elmo. What is it now? Does anyone know what the craze is now? Frozen. Okay, Frozen. So these type of toys we are going to be pressured to buy. They're fad toys. Kids fall prey to the advertising, and then they will ask you. There was a study that said kids will ask 7 times. For some average kids will ask 7 times, and up to 50 times for what they want. And so as parents, sometimes we just give in to that pressure to buy when we don't think it's the best thing for them. Some marketer is determining that this toy is the best for everyone and doing a really good job of convincing everyone that they need to buy it. So, but those toys are lost in the bottom of the toy pile. They're not the keepers. So these are the type of toys that everyone else has, so that's why we have it. Okay? Consider this, that as your child grows in age, the peer pressure is going to be to buy more and more expensive toys. So when they're little, it's the Elmo doll, but when they're 13, 14, 15, what is it going to be?
Mobile devices.
Yes. More and more expensive gadgets that they feel they have to have, because we've taught them that we give into that marketing pressure. And we've taught them that from when they were young, okay? Toys that inspire corrosive play. This is, okay, a boy is going to make a gun out of anything, and I've seen it. They're going to take a stick, make a gun. The issue is not, don't let them have guns. That doesn't really work. We know in our family from personal experience, but these are more like the toys. Like, do they need like this, this assault rifle? Like, do we want them to have like a seriously violent looking toy? Do we want to glorify violence? Is that what, if we have a choice, that's the one we're going to choose? So just to consider what kind of play we're inspiring. And then toy multiples. And this is kind of funny, and it's so true. Your child will have like one favorite doll, like a stuffed elephant. And you just see how that child just loves that stuffed elephant, and they just play with it, and Grandma and Grandpa see, oh, they love the stuffed elephant. So then they're like, well, how about some other jungle animals? And all of a sudden, you've got like a bed full of like jungle animals. She can't even find the stuffed elephant with all these other ones, and none of those get played with. Just the stuffed elephant gets played with. But we fall prey to that, of thinking, oh, they like this, so then let's get them multiples of it. They don't need multiples.
I used to have 3 strawberry shortcake dolls, and there's only one doll of strawberry shortcake dolls that I actually like. And with all those strawberry shortcake dolls, I have like 10 like little cones to brush our hair, and I only use one.
And that is what happens. So we're going to put all this in our discard pile. And this is going to reduce the toys in the room by half, or maybe half again. So what are we going to do with what's left? And I want to suggest that we want to organize the remains very simply. We're going to think about the toys that are left. Okay, this is our reduced pile. That only some of those are going to be seen in the room, and the others are going to be put in like a toy library that we rotate out. So there's going to be a few toys that like, oh, we're going to be playing with the strawberry shortcake tree house. That's old school. But now we're going to put that in the closet, and we're going to bring out the whatever, the playhouse, a little toy playhouse. Okay. So we're going to rotate the toys. Jack?
Can I say something about the toy library?
Yeah.
This can be a great way to get rid of toys, the toy library, because you can tell your kid they're going in the toy library, which they are, truthfully they are, but after a little bit of time, they will also then be in the alley. And believe me, there won't be a question of where it is. They won't remember.
The kids did not notice anything that was removed in the stealth cleanup. They didn't ask about anything. In fact, they found some toys in there that they hadn't found before.
If you do in front of them, though, it will be so precious. Everything. No, that's my precious thing. It's like hasn't been touched in like a year, you know.
It's like a layer of 2 inches of dust on it.
Yeah.
I only use one container of toys, like one box. But my kids, the boys, they're like, Mom, we don't play with these anymore. So they put them like, I think if it's a part of your normal routine, they don't cry over it. They're like, this is time to be donated. And so they put the toys in and I'm like, y'all only have 10 toys. Now we have too many books, but toys, no. And so they just put it in the bag to be donated.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if I'm always saying like, it's time to donate toys, let's take them out. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, we want to give this away. Yeah, this would be nice to give to somebody else.
Yes, and this is a great time to do that before Christmas. The ones we're keeping out, we want to keep a small number of beloved toys visible, and then, like she said, others accessible in labeled bins or baskets, but not visible. So maybe you're gonna have under the bed boxes, or you're gonna have a few crates that are covered. You can cover them with a lid or a cloth, just so you don't have to, it just looks more peaceful in the room. We want to keep the toys low so that they can put them away easily. And rollouts really help with cleanup. I think I missed a picture. Where's this? I saw this on Pinterest. Of course, they have all these things, but they sell these at IKEA, these boxes, and they just put them on wheels. But the idea is, if you can roll a bin to a child's mess, they'll clean it up fast with 2 hands. You know, if the toy box is way over there, they'll take one and walk it over. Walk back, walk it over, get distracted on the way, you know. So the idea of rollouts is you bring it right to the space, quickly clean it up, and then, now I told you guys I was gonna teach you how your child could clean their room in 5 minutes. And this is one of the ways you're gonna do it. You're gonna actually reduce the amount of stuff, and you can test this out after you do your reducing. Test them out. Have them get out one toy at a time, but like when the room is a mess and you tell them go clean it up, how long does it take for them to clean that up? If it's longer than 5 minutes, you know you need to get rid of some more things. That's the key, is getting rid of less is more. It's the power of less. So, also this is available online. These are downloadable, editable labels that you can put on their bins. And I think this is great. My mom always did this with us growing up, to make it easy for us to clean our rooms. So we knew where to put things. We had labels. So remember that what we're doing is, by giving them less, we're actually increasing the amount of depth they're playing with those toys as well. If they have a lot of toys, they'll play lightly with these and not value them very much. But having less, we're inviting them into deeper play with the things that they have. They feel more connected to their toys, because those are more beloved when they have less. And they're learning responsibility. Now, we need to teach them play with one basket at a time. I think that's a good training thing, but that will also help with their room cleanup. So let's look back at this photo I showed you before. We have, what are our keepers? Obviously, this is a small child. But we've got some, this is very doable for a 4-year-old to clean up, I would say. And we're going to talk about what are the kind of toys that we want to keep. Okay, we talked about what we're going to get rid of. What are we going to keep? We are going to keep, I'll come back to this, but we're going to keep imaginary play toys, books, a few favorite animals, a few toys, a cozy place to sit. So let's look at this. I would suggest some good ideas are real toys. Now this gets back to the idea of God gave us purposeful work, and we enjoy that. When children are cooking with you and they have their little rolling pin or cookie cutters and their little apron, or when they're cleaning up with you and they have their own little broom and dustpan, or maybe the boys are working with Dad doing some woodworking or
Tool belt.
a tool belt, but small real tools are keepers. We want to keep those. That's going to bring enjoyment as they're working alongside of us. Dress up is another great thing to have. Now, dress up can explode, especially after Halloween. It's like it can explode. So what we're focused on with dress up is having, Kim John Payne recommends having silk scarves, like large scarves, that they can do all kinds of dress up with. It's a cape, it's a skirt, it's a Grecian dress. It can be tied, but again, it's back to those not conceptually fixed toys. Like, it's not the Dora mask outfit, but it's more of an open-ended type of a dress up. But if they have like 2 princess dresses, third girl, or boys, like, maybe the farmer outfit and the doctor outfit, I think it's okay, but we need to limit these options. They don't need like 6 or 8 of these costumes. They don't need their costume from when they were 3, now they're 8, and we still got all these costumes. And they just need a few simple costumes, that they can make believe with, and to make believe play with. Also, toys for exploring. A big part, this is getting back to what God's given us, is nature to explore. And kids love dirt, sand, and water. You put kids with dirt, sand, and water, and you won't have to do any discipline. I mean, they will be the best kids for you for hours, But we can encourage exploration, discovery with things like buckets, scoops, shovels, pouring containers. And these are great even if you have a little sandbox at home, or if you have a little water basin inside your kitchen that you let your kid play in the sink. But they have some little toys to explore with. Also, space for a cozy spot. Kids love to get a little cozy spot. They like to have a little tent, or maybe a table that you put a blanket over and it's like a tent inside. Or maybe outside on the porch, a little rug with a lantern, and they're having a little camp out. A little cozy spot. Stuff that encourages a cozy spot. So a little pillow or a rug in the cozy spot. A cardboard box doesn't cost any money, but can be wonderful for imagining spaces and creating, boats, or or houses on a desert island, or whatever. I mean, you can make all kinds of things. Toys for movement. Kids like to move. In a room that's full of toys, they can't even move, and they love to move. So we want to encourage jump ropes, balls, swings, scooters, this type of toy, outside toys, sleds, basketball hoops. Also art supplies. You see she did a really simple, for a young one, all they need is, let's go back to the picture, is, crayons, pencils, and a notebook. We don't need 20 notebooks. We don't need all these different kinds of art supplies, but just simple, just a few. Or maybe a big roll of paper. My kids love the giant roll of paper. When they're older, they need room for crafts that they might get into. Right now, my daughter is building a pottery wheel out of a fan. She's really into making her own art supplies and doing pottery with the clay she finds in the ground. So, we're willing to invest in that because she's really into that. Or maybe they're into knitting or whatever craft is popular. The bracelet for boys, they're into those, I forget. Yeah, those bracelets. That type of stuff, they need some space for that, maybe some supplies for that. We want to keep musical instruments. Again, music is a whole sort of realm of play. And so we want to keep things like little drums or egg shakers. The drums in our family have been destroyed over the years, but egg shakers usually last. Recorders, harmonicas. And then I want to talk about books, which my friend Tanisha brought up. And books are hard. They're hard, and if you're a homeschool mom, it's even harder to know how to reduce that. But our goal is to have a few books in sight that they're going to really enjoy. So, like for my daughter Aziza, right now she has a big Winnie the Pooh, which has got like 5 stories in it, but that's her main book, plus her Bible. It's under her bed in a basket. And so for young children, they might have 1 or 2 or 3, at max 8 books by their bed that they're reading right now. And then the other books are put away in the book library. Maybe they're in the closet or in the attic or some space where they're put away. And you're going to rotate out their books for them to keep their room simplified, to keep their cleanup simplified. If they have, like that picture with all those books, it's an enormous job to put them all back on the shelf and to get them to look nice. But a child can do 5 or 8 books, in a room cleanup. So, yeah. Okay. And so that's the work. So you're going to have your toy library, your book library, where you're going to rotate books out. But you're going to encourage and invite them to enjoy those books, to read them over and over and over, not just to the cursory reading, but to really enjoy and get into the books that they have. Okay, and then clothes. So we're talking about kids' spaces. Again, less is more. It's the power of less. And I want you to consider, actually before we get into this, that what is the impact your husband will feel when you choose the power of less. Like when you choose less is more, how is he going to feel this? Let's think about it for a minute. If you teach your child contentment versus entitlement, like that they have to keep up with their friends, and you teach them to be content with what they have, they're going to be happier. If you as a mom learn contentment with what you have, like you don't have to keep having more and more and more and just buy into the more of the marketers, then you're going to be actually happier with what you have. And so then what is your husband going to feel? He's going to have a happier child, a happier wife. And on top of that, how is he going to feel in terms of the financial strain on him? The pressure he feels to provide for the family and to make sure everyone has what they need. I would suggest that it's going to take pressure off of him. He's actually going to feel more confident as a man. Like, I can provide for this family. I can take care of this family. I'm doing a good job. He's going to feel encouraged, like his esteem built up. Like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it as a man. Because he's not constantly being bombarded from wife and kids about I need this, or he needs that, or we got to get this, or we have to have that, and it's bigger, better, more expensive. So I would suggest to you that your husband or future husband is going to be blessed by the power of less, as my husband said. He's going to be blessed. He's going to feel more like a man. So this is really a win-win-win, okay? But it's hard. It's hard to do. That's why I actually needed his help to do it. So let's talk about clothes. We want our kids, when they open their drawers, to have space around the clothes. Okay? When you think of how your kids, your drawers at home, or as moms, what the drawers look like, are they stuffed? And so when we tell them clean your room, and there's like, can they get clothes into the drawers? Often they can't. So we want drawers with space around the piles. And seasonal clothes only in the drawers. We want to give away what doesn't fit and store in tubs the things that will fit later. And then label the drawers for the young children with the picture so they know where to put their clothes. But this is the big part that's hard about this, is that we feel pressure, again, from marketers who are wanting to sell us stuff. I mean, thank God for a free economy. I am so thankful to live in America. But there are negative downsides to it, and that is that we're constantly feeling like we have to have more and better. And it's with clothes too. I know I feel this. Like, my kids, he is dressed. But I look at the child and I say, that's embarrassing. You can't go out like that, you know? But the kids, the thing is that it's hard. Clothes don't have to make a fashion statement other than I am dressed and ready for school, or I'm comfortable and ready for play. Really, this is what the clothes need to say, that they are taken care of, they're ready for school, or they're ready for play. But it's hard to simplify. I had a friend whose the top bunk of the bed was completely filled with clothes. And her mentor said to her, you need to get, she was complaining like she couldn't manage her house and blah, blah, blah. Her mentor said, you need to get rid of clothes. But that was so hard for her. She said to me later, she told me like I had to get rid of these clothes. Like she couldn't process it, like getting rid of clothes. Now granted, this was a Hispanic woman who had grown up in somewhat of poverty. For her, those clothes meant like I am taking care of my kid well. It was her way of feeling secure that they're taking care of the kids. She was taking care of the kids. She just couldn't let go. She couldn't let go. She would feel poor to have drawers where there were piles with space around them. So that's challenging. And if that's your background, I get it. But we need to move beyond that and say, what is best for the kids? We're screaming at them because they can't clean up their room, but they can't even get the clothes. There's so many clothes, they can't do it. So my mom said to think about it this way: how many outfits does your child need? Okay, 7 days in a week, 5 days of school clothes. If your kids have uniforms, then they're going to have some play clothes, and then maybe 4 dresses for seasonal dresses for girls for Sunday. Maybe, how many outfits do they need? We need to start there, and then determine what to get rid of. So sometimes we accumulate to make us feel better about who we are. This is the feeling I have when I look at my child and I say, that's embarrassing. What I'm saying is, I don't feel good about myself when you look like that. But the thing is that variety, style are much more important to parents because it says something about if we're cool or not, And for kids that have not reached adolescence. Now, obviously, when they get to adolescence, they want to feel cool themselves. But when they're little, they don't care. They just want to play, forget how I look. I just want to play. So we need to not complicate their wardrobes, giving them a few simple choices and find our value in the Lord, really, and learn to find our value. As Christians, our value comes from God making us in his image, being chosen by him, being part of his family. That's where our value comes from. And there is such freedom in that. There's so much financial freedom in that, of knowing man looks on the outside, man's going to judge, but God looks on the heart. And we can embrace our identity in Christ. And we can let go of the image that other people want us to have. We can let go of having to be accepted by the world. And when we do, we will be more empowered to simplify our kids' choices. And reach sort of this home peace that is really in the depths of our heart, our goal. We'll be able to get there. So I also found these on Pinterest, really fun printable drawer labels for clothes. So you could put these on their dresser. So there's all types of stuff now like this out there to help you. So this is a great blog. I'm going to post this on the Facebook page. She talked about why she took this mom got fed up from the discontentment of her kids and took all their toys away. And she talks about it, and she talks about the results, and it was actually super positive, and it's kind of fun to read her story about how the kids just started playing, doing all sorts of different kinds of plays without toys. She was like, it's amazing that it worked. So, but I want to encourage you, I'm going to wrap it up here, that the benefit to you as a parent to living with less is you are freed from competitive parenting. You have financial freedom to not buy. You are freed from the stress of trying to get kids to do an impossible task. You are freed from having to manage too many things yourselves, and that creates more time. Kids learn responsibility, and kids value what they have more. Now I want you to imagine, let's reimagine our child's space. It's uncluttered, it's restful to the senses, with soft light and colors, a sense of order and space, with room to move, to play, to draw, to build, without toys that are broken, forgotten, or heaped in piles, with a few of his beloved toys in sight, and the rest in one or two baskets on the floor covered with cloth, with a place for a handful of books while others are stored, read to be cycled in once those are thoroughly read and enjoyed. Imagine watching your children create new worlds and new ways to play with their toys instead of their requiring new toys to play with. Imagine opening your child's dresser or closet and seeing space around a few clothes that fit her in the current season. Imagine your children's own real toys and their happy sense of purpose as they work and play at cooking, cleaning, and gardening. Imagine your child being able to live deeply and repeatedly in the now of a story or his play rather than eyeing what's next. So let's talk about it. Yeah.
Can you just talk about gifts? Like, because that's a big way I think our house fills up with stuff that we hate. It's like,
yeah, one thing I actually just told my mom, just one gift for Christmas for the kids. I'm further along in the family. Like when you've got younger kids, you still kind of want certain things for them, but we're at that stage where we have everything that we need, really. And so I have told them one gift per kid, or I think some you might be able to cast the vision of the type of toys, not those conceptually fixed toys, but maybe you want to build in some toys that are, maybe, hey, let's have a few people go in together and get us a nice set of blocks, You want to encourage those type of toys. You're always going to have that uncle who's going to buy that giant, machine gun, plastic. You're going to have that, I think. But if you can talk with the ones that you're close to and kind of cast a vision of what you're going for and this is wonderful, you love us so much. But this is what we're trying to achieve. I don't know. Did you have any other?
no, just wanted you to.
Experiences are great toys, or not toys,
Yes.
but gifts to give.
Yes.
Let's go out on a date together, grandma, grandpa, or even a
Like
museum,
gift certificates, stuff you
museum
mean?
memberships, even for
Yes.
the grandma, grandpa that wants to spend more.
Yes, and that, I thought about that. Like, really what my kids want is not another toy from grandma. They want grandma to play with them. That's what they really want. And, yeah, so that's great. Experiences or tickets to a play or something like that.
I mean, the nice thing about the cheap crap that goes around, it breaks really fast. So you can kind of try to find an excuse to throw it out, like, oh, the trigger on that thing broke. Too bad. You know.
I'm kind of like the toy Nazi, I guess. My family knows me. I know it's not like this with everybody, but we're close enough that they can ask me and I tell them straight out, this is what I want. So they know my rules, like can't have batteries, can't be plastic. If it's plastic, it has to be like the Green Toys family, can't have like chemicals in it and stuff. So we've gotten lucky, but there are some like from the past, like people for birthday parties, where they've given like battery operated stuff. It just goes directly in the rotating toys, so in the basement.
Yeah.
And like the kids' they just had a birthday party last month, and someone brought them this like big plastic mat. It's like a road. It's cute, but I'm like, I just didn't want it in the house, so it went directly down there. But I know already that like on a day that I have to do a big project or something, I just bring it out, and it's like, whoa! I mean,
Yeah.
we gave them this little plastic train track that someone gave them last year. We gave it to them in June when I was like going to do yard work or something, and we brought it out, and they were like, oh, we forgot about. They were so happy.
Yeah.
So rotating toys is really helpful, like for when you have big projects, to do, like the parents that they.
That's
So
great.
we
tip.
have 6 toys. I think it's their kitchen blocks. They have a lot of blocks. Just maybe 6 toys, and you would think that they get bored, but they play with that stuff all the time and they never get bored. And cleanup is like less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
It's pretty easy.
Fabulous.
Testimony
And they don't.
right there.
If you don't watch commercials, they don't know what's popular.
Right. Exactly.
So Netflix, if your kids watch TV, then Netflix is a good choice because there are no commercials.
Right. That's really great. Limiting their exposure to media is going to serve your goals. Absolutely.
So for your regular storage of toys, how often do you rotate? Like, other than like for major projects and stuff like that, how often would you rotate the toys?
It depends on the kid, you know, maybe once a month. It's kind of, I just feel it out. Like, I feel out, like, oh, she's played with this enough. She's kind of bored of it. Let me just switch it out, yeah.
You mentioned about books, like rotating. Do you also donate books? Like if you have too much of books, do you just give them away, or you just keep them and just rotate them?
Yeah, you know, I give them away. I have so many books, so I definitely offload them to the thrift store myself. But you can also go through books in the same way, thinking like, is this a book I enjoy reading? Is this a book that's beautiful? You know, is this a book that, you know, is a classic? Or is this just like a junky Christmas book, or like like a fad toy that now they're marketing it through a book? You know, I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Lightning McQueen. My son loves Lightning McQueen, so he does not die in our home. But outside of Lightning, I don't need to expose him to all these different Disney characters with all the stuff that goes with them. You know, so yeah, I mean, I think you can ship those out of your home as well, or rotate them. Yeah.
Oh, that article you posted, actually, a friend sent that to me, but she was saying the lady got so much, like, what do you call it, backlash. For posting that article.
Yeah.
Like, people was like, you're the worst mom ever. Da, 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 da. You know, I had a mom who was like you. Like, and so she said, I saw that article just and she sent it to me, just saying how everybody just really gave her a hard time about that article.
Yeah, and so then it makes you think about, and I saw she posted after 6 months and after a year, she kept posting. She wanted to know this was really working, and like, yeah, we gave them a couple toys back, but you know, in general, they're like a minimalist family, so they pared way down. But it does make you think about our culture, and the things that I'm saying about why we do what we do are key to changing your own patterns. You know, what your natural gut instinct is to do. You know, we need to think about what is driving our choices, what's behind it. And I think Scripture helps us to kind of deal with some of that. That's going to happen in our own minds. The like resistance we have to throwing stuff out. I mean, it's so hard for me to throw out something that's perfectly good, you know, but.
How do you know when you may need something? Like right now, for example, I don't have dressers for my 2 boys, and they're 4 and 6. And so my husband's like, they need drawers, but I feel like it'll still be disorganized. So I kind of use the cubby holes, and then most of their clothes I put up because I pull their clothes out every day. You know, besides play clothes, but I'm more of like cheap like, oh no, we can finish. But how, like maybe, would it be better to get drawers? Because it might be more organ. How do you know?
My grade would be like how the kids do with the organization. Like, is it, if they can see it, is that easier for them? Or are they really kind of messy? Some messy kids, I'd want it in drawers, because I don't want to see messy piles in open shelving. But if they're like a neat kind of kid, or if you're folding it and putting it in there and it stays neat, maybe you want to stick with that. But I would go with what type of kid are they, and the visual, what's the visual feel of the room? I think that's like a good grid. Like, does this feel clean and organized, or?
Well, it would go in the closet, but my husband always says, like, I don't know where the pajamas are. And so it's kind of just, I know where they are,
Yeah.
Because the kids pull things down, and so I'm like, well, how would that change if we had a drawer that said pajamas?
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah, the labels do help, and they're definitely going to help with, the husband who's trying to find things if it's labeled, yeah. But you could label your open shelving too. That might be what he needs. So, okay, let's break into groups, and we got a few questions to discuss.